Hello, Movie Crusaders, and welcome to our second annual Movie Crusaders Awards. My name is Sean Waskrug. With me, as always, is Brian Michaels. This is our second year of doing this. This is a fun award show. We've seen other people like Screen Junkies and other groups at the end of the year, like when the Oscars come out, they will kind of come up with their own fun little awards. And we're thinking, that's fun. Let's do our own, because sometimes the Oscars are boring as shit and not that fun to talk about. Granted, we'll have our own Oscar show and all that kind of stuff.
We're still going to do it.
Yeah, we're still going to do it. But there are so many movies that we felt throughout the year deserve to be acknowledged that aren't going to be Oscar favorites or anything at the year's end. So we decided to make up our own awards that we wanted to acknowledge, which we kind of feel like these awards are more important because there are awards. Some of them are, best films for specific genres. Some of them are specific scenes and moments and all this kind of fun stuff. But Brian and I really have a fun time discussing these and debating, because we have to agree on the
winner.
Negotiate.
Now, that's the one thing to know going into this. These picks might not, a winner might not be my favorite, or a winner might not be his favorite, but there's a lot of negotiating going on behind the scenes because we had to come to some kind of consensus. So
there's a lot of like backdoor dealings where, like, look, I'll give you this one if you give me this one. Or with nominations, like, look, I want this one to be nominated. It doesn't have to win, but I need this to be nominated.
So if you see a winner announced and you see the other one of us biting our tongue, that's why.
Yes. But it's all in fun. We enjoy the hell out of this one because this is our fun awards. Now, obviously, because of the Oscars, which I think, is that still March now, or is it February? Did they move it up, or is it still March?
I believe it's March. You talk, I'll look it up.
Yeah, we will. So we're not going to have like best supporting actor, actress, best actress, actor, director, best picture. We're going to hold that off for when we do our Oscar show and predictions. So if you're looking for that, that's going to be coming later when we get closer to the Oscars, which is what Brian's looking up. These are
nominations next Tuesday. The awards are on March 12th.
So March. So we'll probably be dropping it like first week of March-ish. So if you're wanting to know what we think about, best performances, all that stuff, that's when that's going to happen. Well, plus it gives us more time to catch some of the awardee films. Like, I still haven't watched The Whale, and right now, like, we've pretty much decided the winners and stuff, but I haven't seen The Whale yet. Brendan Fraser might all of a sudden sneak up and do it because he's popping up and everything. But right now he's not on our list because neither one of us saw the movie because it's not available in my area. Is it even available in your area?
It just opened here this past Friday.
Yeah, and I can't watch it here. There's no theaters that have The Whale here. So like, it gives us more time to watch those films. I know Brian's not a huge Oscar fan of some of those movies. I tend to watch them a little bit more, and then I'll just be like, Brian, you should watch this. Like Coda last year. Which frankly, I would never have watched Coda had it not gotten all the awards stuff.
I still haven't. Honestly.
You still what? Oh, that's right. You watched. I think you watched like scenes, so that way you could at least like give some actual feedback during the show. But these are gonna be your fun ones, and like I said, it's us. It's not. I mean, we'll discuss them a little bit, but I mean, it's just awards. We're not gonna go into great in-depth detail like we do with our best, worst, and all that kind of stuff. But like I said, these are fun. So obviously our first award of the night should go to Best Opening Sequence of the Year, aka the Hold On to Your Butts Award. This one, obviously, there's a lot of good choices here, and our big thing that Brian and I were trying to decide on is how lengthy should the opening sequence be. And I think we didn't want to go title card, because if that was the case, then RRR would have been like the first 40 minutes.
Yeah, 40 minutes in. Yeah.
Or Babylon would have been like the first 40 minutes of it. So we kind of went with like the first like sequence kind of thing, where it was like when the movie actually like stopped and said, okay, now we're continuing with the story out of the first set of movies. So our nominations, which every nomination has 5. Last year we had a couple awards that had 10 because there's just too many options. This year everything is 5 with just our one winner. But our nominees for Best Opening Sequence of the Year is The Batman, Day Shift, Glass Onion: A Knives Out Mystery, Scream, and Uncharted. And our winner went to Day Shift, which was the Jamie Foxx fighting the old vampire lady in her house, which I still think was one of the best. Obviously, why I won the award. One of the most fun, best ways to start a film throughout the year. Brian, thoughts on the award? I championed this one more than you, but
well, because here's the thing: is the movie Day Shift was not everything I hoped it would be. It in the end, it was a little bit disappointing, although I did enjoy it. But the opening was still awesome. The opening, it starts off with a bang, goes right into the action. It sets up the world you're in, and it also sets up the tone of the movie very well. And there's just a whole lot of moments like, whoa, what the fuck is going on? And
yeah,
that's exactly perfect for that kind of movie.
And that's probably the one thing when it came to Day Shift was that when it did its action, it did it really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
The story and the in-between marks is parts where it was kind of disappointing, but when it has its action sequences, it is shot beautifully. There's a lot of holy crap moments and a lot of just surprising ones that you didn't expect from the film. Thus, this opening was the winner for Best Opening Sequence. Our next award goes to Best Animated, and Brian and I think throughout the whole year, Brian was like, dude, I haven't watched like any animated films all year. I was like, yes, you have. And then we finally figured some out. Most of these are my nominations because Brian decided he didn't want to watch any animated films this year for the most part. Or you watched like half a movie. Like, was it like Lightyear? Did you watch like half of Lightyear?
No, I watched all Lightyear. I watched it.
Okay. All right. So our nominees, and I'm going to ask you this real quick. You said you're going to watch this, and I don't know if you ever did, but our nominees for Best Animated Film is The Bad Guys, Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers, Lightyear, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, and The Sea Beast. And our winner went to, obviously, if you guys know us or watched our best ofs videos, you know this movie was gonna win by a landslide, and that is Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers. This movie exceeded both Brian and I's expectations. It's fantastic, and yes, you guys can claim it's live action anime. It's an animated film.
It is a hybrid film, but your main characters are animated, and it's at least 50% of the movie is animation. So we're going to call it animation. And honestly, because it also because it's kind of a weak year animated otherwise. Yeah. I will say I have not gotten to see Puss in Boots: Last Wish, and I've heard nothing but great things about that. So I'm worried that
I was going to ask you on was that you said you were going to try to watch The Bad Guys before this award show. Did you ever get to?
I watched part of it. I did not watch the whole thing.
See, I was saying, Brian, half animated films. You want to watch?
So I will admit I was leaning largely on Sean for this category, but he still agreed with one that I had seen anyway. So there you go.
Yes, and for anyone going, what about Pinocchio? First off, Brian refuses to watch Guillermo del Toro's
Pinocchio. Which one? Oh wait,
I said Guillermo del Toro's, but even though yes, there is 3. Well, Disney's is mostly live action, and the Pauly Shore one. I had a hard time trying to even find that one. But yes, Brian never saw it, and I thought it sucked. So it was not getting nominated, even though it's probably going to win Best Animated at the Oscars, which makes me want to gag. But anyway, next one is Funniest Moment of the Year. And this one, we had a hard time deciphering this because we didn't want it all to be Jackass Forever. Even though Jackass could have filled this entire nomination slots. We only left it to one of them. Or actually, no, we did 2. We did 2 Jackass. We decided on 2 of them. But there are obviously some funny moments in films throughout the year. And I think the one that Brian really, really wanted, but ultimately did not win. Our first nominee goes to Ugly Sonic in Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers. Then we also got Benoit Blanc ruining Miles' murder mystery game in Glass Onion: A Knives Out Mystery. The Dum Dum Game in Jackass Forever. The Silence of the Lambs in Jackass Forever, and the real-life Home Alone in Violent Night. And, of course, our winner went to the movie that literally almost made me faint because I was laughing so hard, and that is Silence of the Lambs in Jackass Forever. This is a scene, because we talked about this on our Best Of show. We both went in. I mean, you were excited for Jackass. I kind of was heeding my expectations because I didn't know, based off their ages and the new cast, if it was going to work. And Dum Dum Game kind of started the whole show off. I was like, all right, well, that was funny. But when Silence of the Lambs happened, I died. I hadn't laughed that hard probably since the first Jackass. And it's definitely the loudest and hardest I've laughed in a theater since I can't remember when. It's brilliant. If anyone hasn't seen it, I mean, you should watch all of Jackass Forever. But I'm pretty sure, isn't Silence of the Lambs on YouTube?
I'm sure it is. I think the whole movie is on YouTube and like cut into sections.
And little clips. But you guys should watch all of Jackass Forever. But Silence of the Lambs is that. I mean, even though Brian really, really wanted Ugly Sonic to win.
Well, no, I mean, I didn't think that was very funny. I actually I was leaning heavily towards Benoit solving the murder at one point as well, or ruining the murder at one point.
That whole scene is predicated on Edward Norton's face.
Yeah.
Just being
these are all hilarious moments, hence their nominations. But when it comes to the true spirit of the award, which one had us laughing out loud, just rolling through the entire scene? And that was Jackass.
Yes. Which then rolls into our best comedy film. This is the film that had obviously the most chuckles, the most laughs. We gave an honorary nomination to Jackass Forever, but we were both in an agreement that yes, Jackass Forever is technically a movie, but it's not really a film because it's just clips. So it is nominated, but it is not going to get the win. We decided to actually make it be about an actual comedy film. So our nominations for best comedy film is Glass Onion, A Knives Out Mystery, Jackass Forever, Spirited, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, and Violent Night. And our winner went to Glass Onion, A Knives Out Mystery. There's so many moments in this film, just dialogue-wise, that just works. And like I said, the moment that we nominated for funniest moment, Benoit, totally ruining the murder mystery, just Edward Norton's and then he gets shot with the arrow. He's just it's brilliant. I mean, Batista's great. Kate Hudson I thought was going to be overly annoying, but she was actually pretty funny in it. Brian, you championed this one to win. You really enjoyed this comedy-wise.
I did. I honestly went into this with fairly low expectations because I enjoyed Knives Out quite a bit. But I'm like, I don't know if I want to see a whole series. We'll see how the next one is and see if I want to see future installments. But the thing is, what I didn't expect, although there were funny moments in the original Knives Out, I didn't think this was going to lean as heavily into the comedy as it did, because there was big sections of this movie that, there was still a mystery obviously going on, but it was largely a comedy, obviously, hence it winning this category. But yeah, there was just so many laugh out loud moments. With of course the biggest one being the him ruining the murder, but throughout the whole movie, I really had a lot of fun watching this.
One of the ones that I keep going back to that I love, and it's one of those, like, if you're not paying attention to, you miss it. But it's during the mini spoiler for anyone who hasn't seen Glass Onion yet, but it's on Netflix. You guys have all should have seen it by now. It's when Andy's running towards the ceramic button, and when she's right about there, and Edward Norton tries to grab her and whiffs past her, and his face, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. And every time I watch it, I don't even watch her. I just watch him slide by going like it's so good. It's so good. Probably one of our favorite awards, and probably the one that was the closest to getting 10 nominees, because there was so much of this year. And this is the biggest WTF, aka the Furries in the Conference Room award. Probably our favorite code name award for anyone who hasn't seen the Avengers and not the Marvel one. Was it
1998?
1998. The Avengers. You guys know exactly what we're talking about. This is the scene that literally at any point through this year made us go, what the fuck is going on? Or just was so batshit crazy that it just lingered in your brain long after you saw the movie. And like I said, there were so many nominees this year, but we narrowed it down to 5. This is also probably the one that you and I had the biggest negotiation on, because we both wanted different nominees in it. We both wanted different winners. We ultimately but this is probably the one we discussed the most, because we just were championed all these great moments. Not all great, actually. So they're not all great moments. But the nominees for biggest WTF moment of the year: the mother breastfeeds AJ in Barbarian. The one I wanted to win: Marilyn's unborn baby begging not to be aborted in the womb in Blonde. God, it's so bad. Black Bolt's death in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Art's killing of Allie in Terrifier 2. And for anyone who's seen Terrifier 2, you know 100% what we're talking about. And Nick Cage, making out with Nick Cage in The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. And the winner went to Art's killing of Allie in Terrifier 2. I remember watching this movie with Brian, because he forced me to basically sit there and say, watch this with me. And I was like, okay. And I remember Brian sitting there, because this was the 4th time you saw it in a week, because Brian's a masochist, apparently, who just loves watching this horrible, horrible film. And when I say horrible, I don't mean bad. I just mean grotesquely over the top. And I remember watching this scene, and Brian was there just laughing at me going, come on. Seriously, this is still going? It's such an over-the-top, brutal scene, and it's so ridiculously unrealistic. Granted, there was another scene for Terrifier 2 that I really, really wanted to nominate, and potentially almost give it the win. But we went with this one because we were both in agreement of it. Because the other one's a post-credit scene, which if anyone knows Terrifier 2, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But this scene is so just over the top, and Brian was a huge champion for this scene. So I'm gonna let you continue with it.
I really was. Now, granted, like you said, I watched this like 4 times in a week. But granted, viewings 2, 3, and 4 were because I wanted to watch other people watching this movie. I was watching your reactions more than anything else.
Yeah.
But yeah, Terrifier 2 is if you've heard anything about it, you've heard it's over the top, it's bloody, it's gory, it's old school, real gory horror. And this is kind of the scene that exemplifies that. And just the fact that he's killing this girl, which is not anything new, but the fact that he kills her and he cuts her, he does all this stuff, and he's breaking an arm but then it's just because of the way the scene just keeps on going on. Every time you think it's over, nope, he does something else. Wait, he does something else. Oh, he left the room. Good, it's over. No, wait, he's coming back in with bleach and salt to pour all over the wounds.
That was the biggest what the fuck?
And that ends. And then the mom walks in, and then you see that she's still technically alive, and you're like, Mom. And it's just like the fact that it just kept on going and going and going is what made it the WTF moment, because you're watching this movie going, what the fuck? When is this going to end?
It's all it was. I told Brian during, and I said this in my review for, I was like, by the end of this, I felt so bad for the girl Allie, because she's not a bad
movie, dude.
I get that, but it's like usually when characters get these kinds of no one gets these kinds of deaths, but usually when someone gets a death like this in a film, they're like a horrible character, or they're just this ruthlessly most hated character. So it's like their death's like, yeah, you get it. This character did nothing wrong. She was not a bad girl. She was the friend. Totally does not warrant the brutality of her death in this film. And that's why I think it even upped it even more, because it was like there are so many characters in that movie that probably could have deserved that death. It wasn't Allie. I felt so bad for her, which I guess is also a good thing because either you laughed at it like Brian, or you felt just bad for the character, which I did. So if you felt something like that, then it did its job, which it did, because I felt bad. He laughed, because Brian's a dick. But it did its job. And like I said, I so badly wanted Blonde to win, but Brian refused to watch that movie, so he didn't get to watch that scene. But just describing that scene to him, Brian was just going, ugh, because it's so fucking stupid. Which then obviously goes into our best horror film of the year. This one was a very hard year to pick, because there are movies that were solid, and then there are movies that were overrated, or movies that you liked and I didn't like, or vice versa. But there was one movie that we were able to actually agree on for best horror. I think this is probably one of the easiest picks to win, but it was the hardest to pick the nominees for because we were so back and forth on our choices. But our nominees for best horror film was Barbarian, The Black Phone, Day Shift, Scream, and Terrifier 2. And our winner, obviously, would go to Terrifier 2. Frankly, it's the one movie outside of maybe Day Shift that we both agreed that we both enjoyed for the most part for what it was. Every other film, one of us either liked it or didn't like it. And we were both kind of, I know a lot of people are going, what about X? And it's like, no, X was, not that. I mean, it's fine. It wasn't great. But Terrifier 2 definitely deserved this film. And Barbarian's overrated as hell. And don't even get me started on Smile. But Terrifier 2 deserved this award. It went above and beyond to deserve
there was a ton of horror movies that came out. And everything from, your like A24 elevated horror to franchises like Scream and that coming back. And then there's things like Terrifier 2 and Day Shift. And so you have a wide variety of all kinds of things. And I think Terrifier 2 we gave the award to because it's not, it's a real horror movie. It's not this kind of PG-13 watered down horror that we've gotten mostly for the last several years.
Yeah.
It's really just kind of old school hardcore horror film. Also, the fact that it's a sequel and nobody had even heard of the original. Well, most people had not heard of the original, and a lot of people that did is only because they've gone back and watched it now since this one came out. And it's just it's basically kind of introducing everyone to a new character who could go on to make many more films. We'll see what happens with that. But yeah, just the fact that it's kind of it does just embrace going a fully hardcore horror. It's not afraid to just enjoy that. It is true horror. and it was kind of unique in its own way. That's why we
And
awarded
Brian
it.
will definitely be there night one for Terrifier 3.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's 6-hour long runtime.
It was too long. I will admit that. This movie did go
They
too
could have
long.
cut 45 minutes out of that film. Next, we're going to go to Best Sci-Fi Fantasy. This one was a tough one because there was a lot that qualified for this, and we're like, man, this is actually pretty tough to narrow down. The winner was pretty easy, but the overall narrowing down to 5 was tough. But our nominees for Best Sci-Fi Fantasy goes to The Atom Project, Avatar: The Way of the Water, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Jurassic World Dominion, and Prey. And our winner goes to Everything Everywhere All at Once. This movie, there's a lot of things with the movies this year where they're just kind of a jumbled match of multiple genres. Everything Everywhere All at Once, it's comedy, it's action, it's drama, it's sci-fi. But at the end of the day, it is a multiverse movie. It's definitely 100% a sci-fi fantasy film. The performances alone, the way it's shot, the way everything is done in this film, this deserved to win this award. There's one nominee on here I don't agree with being nominated, but Brian was very adamant about it being talked about, so it got nominated.
I gave you Black Phone in the last category.
You did. Brian despises Black Phone, and I wanted it to be nominated, so I had to give him Jurassic World Dominion. I was like, it's not winning. You're like, oh no, it's not going to win.
It was never going to win. No.
So,
absolutely not. I wouldn't give it a win.
A little bit behind the curtain of how we discuss this stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, Everything Everywhere All at Once. I know Brian's not it's not that you're not a fan of it. You just think it's kind of over talked about, overpraised, all that kind of stuff. But you did agree that this did deserve Best Sci-Fi Fantasy.
Reluctantly so. I think that, like you said, something like Jurassic World Dominion, I want to be nominated because I still enjoy the dinosaur aspects of it. It has its other problems we'll talk about later. But there were other strong ones like obviously Avatar and Atom Project especially. But Everything Everywhere All at Once, while I don't love it as much as most people, I do think it has some issues, especially towards the end. It takes forever to end, things like that. It gets a little melodramatic. It is one of those ones that it's so unique and it's something kind of new and fresh, and it was very fun and exciting. So yeah.
Next, we're going to go into our action categories. First thing is going to be Best Action Scene. These, just like opening sequence, we were trying to narrow down exactly what was an action scene and what was a fight scene, or how long do you want the action scenes to go. Some of these are 40 plus minutes long, and some of them are like 5-10 minutes long. But these were our top 5 nominees for Best Action Scene of the year. The final act battle for Avatar: The Way of the Water, Vampire Hive House in Day Shift, Bahim's animal attack on the palace in RRR, the attack on the nuclear silo / dogfight for Top Gun Maverick, and Santa fighting the sleigh bells in Violent Night. And our winner goes to the attack on the nuclear silo / dogfight in Top Gun Maverick. I said this, I think during our best of, this did the attack on the Death Star better than Star Wars New Hope did. Granted, better special effects, 50 plus years ahead, in terms of technology. But this scene is so amazing from the moment that they come, sliding in, looking like fucking X-Wings over the water, to them going through there, and then the dogfight afterwards. Because every moment of this scene is butt clenching. Every time they pass one of those turret guns and watching whether or not they're gonna, see him and attack, you're just like, and everything about the scene is the epitome of a fantastic action sequence. You're holding your breath. You're on the edge of your seat. You're watching these amazing camera shots that they shot in this film. It's a fantastic action scene. Your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, Top Gun obviously is a very successful film, but really 2/3 of the movie or 3/4 of the movie is basically just build up to this scene, this basically Act 3 scene, which won the award. Because everything else leads up to this. The whole actual attack, like you said, going through the canyon and everything. But what gets it for me is actually once they've actually hit their target and they're coming out, that's when all hell breaks loose. Yeah. That's when shit gets real. That's when we're seeing basically the only real dogfights of the movie. Not only with the missiles following them, but with the other planes coming in, and that's when it feels like there's real stakes to the movie as well. And so all that just kind of led up to it. It was all the excitement, everything you hope for the whole movie, you finally get in that third act.
Next, we're going to go to Best Fight Scene, a.k.a. You Should Watch The Night Comes For Us award on Netflix. If you guys have not seen that, you guys didn't listen to us last year.
We're gonna keep saying it every year till you do.
Yeah, because that movie's freaking fantastic, and it would be nominated for probably almost every nomination for best fight. But this year we have 5 new nominees, and the first one goes to Ladybug versus Tangerine, weirdest damn names, from Bullet Train. All of the IRS building fights and Everything Everywhere All at Once. Yes, I know that's a big net, but they're all so quick and stuff that it's great. Lloyd versus Six in The Gray Man. Beheem versus Ram at the Palace in RRR, and Santa versus Frosty in Violent Night. And our winner goes to Beheem and Ram at the Palace in RRR. This scene is, on top of it just being fucking gorgeous and amazing and breathtaking of watching these two fight, the emotional weight of this scene, because you've been watching these two be like the bestest of bros for like the last hour. And now all of a sudden, just watching them like realize that they have to fight each other because Beheem's trying to save his sister. I can't remember. I don't know. Like they made it sound like it's his sister, but I didn't think that they were actually related.
No, I think it's just a girl from his village.
I don't know, but they I don't know. The dialogue made it seem like it was brother sister, but I didn't think they actually were brother sister. And then watching Ram basically have to completely break away from the thing that he's like been closest to in this film and have to fight each other, and then. Like I said, you got the scene where Ram like grabs like a lantern and punches the freaking tiger in the face, and everything about this scene is just flipping amazing. I mean, RR itself is amazing in of its own, but this fight scene was the scene that you were just like all the way through. Brian, you watched this before me, obviously, because you're the one who recommended that I watch RRR.
Yeah, I've watched this a few times now, and with RRR, it became this issue, both with action scene and with fight scene, of like which ones do you nominate. But I think as far as like if you're talking like essentially a one-on-one fight scene, this is kind of the one main one in the movie, and it really impresses. And it is kind of representative of the film as a whole, because that's one thing about RR is not only is it cool action, it's exciting, it's filmed well, but it's just so innovative, and it's just like you kind of feel like even though it's just a fight between two guys, it's still stylistically kind of like nothing you've seen before, and that's one of the things that made RR so successful.
Yeah, and for anyone who hasn't watched it, you need to go watch RRR on Netflix. Don't worry about the subtitles. It's a phenomenal film, and you should check it out.
And don't worry about the runtime because it flies by.
Yes, and like I said, after an hour and a half, it kind of has a stop point, so you can break it up into 2 viewings if you want to, but guess what? You're not going to want to. You're going to want to keep watching it. Which leads us to our Best Action Film. Our nominees for Best Action Film go to Bullet Train, The Gray Man, RRR, Top Gun Maverick, and The Woman King. And our winner goes to Brian's #1 film of 2022, Bullet Train. Brian, take it away. This is your movie.
I think this was the one I felt deserved this award, because this, when you're talking about a best action movie, this is the movie that is most pure action movie. RRR, great film. There's like 10 genres mixed into that movie. There's romance stories going on. There's the bro story
Musical
going on.
dance numbers.
There's drama. There's comedy. I mean, there's obviously comedy and things in Bullet Train too. But Top Gun Maverick, I talked about, 2/3 of that movie isn't really action. 2/3 of that movie is kind of drama and stuff and build up to that action third act. Whereas Bullet Train, from beginning to end, is pretty much this full-on action movie, and especially being directed by David Leitch, who we know from so many other films, and who comes from a stunt background. You knew it was going to have great fight scenes, great action choreography, and it's the one that just had the most fun in terms of action.
Next goes our most disappointing moment. You fucked up, aka you done messed up. Ron Award.
Another one that almost had 10 nominees.
What's that?
This is another one that almost had 10 nominees.
Yes, it did, because there was a lot of things that movies messed up on this year that really just aggravated and pissed us off. One movie got nominated twice, but didn't get nominated for the final act. But we wanted to solely, but there was just too many things messed up in this year. So our nominees go to The Glass Onion and The Gray Man for having Jessica Henwick and doing nothing with her in both films. I don't know what Hollywood has against casting this woman and then not utilizing her, but both these movies, shame on you. Last year, Matrix, was it Revelations?
Resurrection.
Did it also. They gave her a little more to do in that one, but goddamn, guys, give Jessica Henwick something to do. Jurassic World Dominion for making the focus of the movie be about the fucking locusts and not dinosaurs. I hate you so much. Morbius, the post-credit scene. Enough said on that one. Samaritan, spoiling the movie in the first 10 minutes. I remember Brian
First 10
and I,
minutes, it's like the second line uttered in
yeah,
the movie.
it literally is. It's in the first 2 minutes of the movie. And I remember Brian and I go, so the ending's going to be this, right? Like, are we calling it right now? Yep. Okay, cool. And then it happened. You're like, oh, you don't say. And lastly, Wakanda Forever for making Shuri Black Panther, or AKA forcing Black Panther into the movie to begin with, because it wasn't needed. The movie should have been about Wakanda becoming one and not needing the Black Panther, not forcing the Black Panther into the film in the third act. But our winner, obviously, it was a tough race between Morbius and the winner, but it's going to Jurassic World Dominion because it's a fucking dinosaur movie and you focus on the goddamn locusts and not the dinos. Sacrilege, just infuriating. Morbius was close.
Inspiration to connect itself to the MCU was bad enough, but then just the way those scenes were done was just awful.
Yes.
But that was not enough to overcome Jurassic World. Like I said, I enjoy Jurassic World a lot, but the Locust storyline absolutely is the reason I don't enjoy it more. The thing is, I'm able to kind of say, okay, that sucked, but I enjoyed all these dinosaur scenes. If you took the Locust out of the movie, I don't think Sean would. I think he still has problems with it, but I think he enjoys it about 200% more than he did.
I 100% agree with that, because you brought back the old cast and everyone was like, yes, the old cast. But then
the old cast is only based on that plot line.
Exactly. They put the old cast in the Locust storyline, so you have to care and you have to pay attention to it. And it was a catch-22. It's like, oh, you really excited to see these people? But you're being the lamest fucking storyline. It's like, I hate this. I hate this so much. But yes, if they had removed the locusts and just had them be in the same storyline with everybody else, yes, I probably wouldn't even bash this movie nearly as much.
Yeah, because the Locust showed up in that first early scene, and you're like, okay, that's interesting, because now they got dealing with like these basically Paleolithic insects too. I'm like, okay, that's going to be another thing, but like, nope, we're going to make that a major focus of the movie. And I'm like, oh.
How do you fuck this up? I don't.
Yeah.
Anyway,
how do you wrap up the series with that?
Exactly. How do you fuck this up? It's mind-boggling how they messed up Jurassic World.
Yeah.
Next goes to another award that we had to have a good long discussion on, because there was enough to be 10 nominees for as well, which is Most Overrated, aka the Napoleon Dynamite Award. This is a movie that everyone apparently loves and is, I'll just do the hand motion about, which we are both like, these movies aren't that good. Granted, some of these...
Yeah, some completely suck. Some aren't bad, just aren't worthy of the praise they're getting.
Yeah, we're just like, oh my God, shut the fuck up about these movies. They're not that great. I will say the first nominee is 100% a Brian pick. But I have, not that I've soured on it, but I don't love it as much as I did when I first saw it. But it was worthy enough. Brian's like, you're not going to let me have this. I go, no, I'm going to let you have it. You can have it. It's not going to win, but you can have it. And our first nominee goes to The Batman, followed by Elvis, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, Scream, and Smile. And the winner goes to the movie that I don't understand why everyone loves and is talking about as being one of the best horror films of the year, and that is Smile. This movie's stupid. It's so fucking stupid. I don't understand why you guys think this is good. It's not well acted. The story's not good. The jump scares are all in the trailers, like Brian told me before I saw the damn film. The last 5-10 minutes is utterly like diverted from everything that we've seen previously and just completely makes everything you watched before pointless. This movie's so bad. It's so fucking bad. But you guys are like, it's so great. I'm like, no.
Well, here's the thing: is I wouldn't even hate the movie if it were not for the praise. I would have watched the movie and been like, that wasn't very good. But then I kept hearing people saying how great it was and seeing how much money it was making. I'm like, did you guys see a different cut of this movie than I did? Because the story's already been done, basically, and it follows. This is basically it follows up.
It follows in the Ring. It's both of those.
But I mean, the idea of like this chain, it's been done before. But the thing and the trailers looked kind of intriguing, but you're kind of like, okay, it's just smiling creepily, okay, whatever. But like I said, every single actual scary moment in the movie is in those trailers, and beyond that, I was mostly just bored by this movie, and I would really have just let it go until I heard people gush about it, and we're both like, it's not that good, people, not even near that good.
The one scene in the trailer that sells that movie is the car door scene. You take that scene out, no one watches this movie, but you take that scene out, which why they put that on TV is because that's a brutal scene to show that. But if you would have just kept that in the movie and didn't have that in the trailer, not that it would have made it
just one moment though.
But it's like a holy crap. But no, you gave it away because we saw it like 1,800 times before the movie came out. So it just desensitized us going into the film. But honestly, guys, this winner of this award, this one's on you guys. You're the reason that these movies got nominated. You're the reason why these movies won, because y'all blow these movies out of proportion. And hell, if you would have heard the other 5 nominees for this, you guys would have been more pissed, because we were like, we're not gonna nominate those, but they deserve to be talked about too. But Smile is on you guys. You guys talking about this movie like it was the best horror film ever is the reason why it won this award, because it is not a good film. And was it Kara Sedgwick and Kevin Bacon's daughter? She's not a good actress. She looks like she's trying to be not good. Yeah, but anyway, back to the more fun awards. Well, those are the fun awards for us, but no more of us like talking shit about films. Next is Best Comic Book, aka the Martin Scorsese Award. This one I think was relatively an easy choice for both of us, but our nominees for Best Comic Book Film go to The Batman, Black Adam, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and Thor: Love and Thunder. And our winner goes to Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Yes, people, Black Panther is not the best comic book movie of the year, and neither is The Batman. From beginning to end, Doctor Strange in Multiverse of Madness goes out to do something different and unique. It works for the most part. Sam Raimi comes in, gives a very awesome horror approach to an MCU film. Wanda is fantastic as the villain. Yes, Brian's not a fan of some of the cameos and everything. I love the cameos in it. But I think this movie actually exceeded expectations because Brian and I, did not overly bloat what we thought could happen in this film. We just went in to see this movie as what it is. You guys also are the ones like, oh, the X-Men are going to show up. And then it's like, no, why are you putting that stuff in your head? Because now you're just going to be nothing but disappointed. And that's what ultimately a lot of people are. A lot of people hating on Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness because you guys put it up on this pedestal hoping that all this shit was going to happen when none of it happened. And that's on you, not on the movie. Brian, you this wasn't your favorite comic book film of the year, but you agreed that this should have won the award.
Yeah, it's honestly, this was a year of I don't want to say mediocrity, but
average.
Average. The superhero movies this year, the comic movies, none of them blew me away. My favorite of the year was Thor: Love and Thunder, honestly. Even though I know it has its flaws, upon rewatching though, it kind of has gone down on my list, so I wasn't gonna really push for that one to win. Whereas Doctor Strange, I didn't like the whole multiverse aspect of it, which kind of the main crutch of the movie. I know, not just the cameos, but even just the whole idea. Just multiverse is just not. I don't love that. But when I look at the movie and how much I did enjoy it, and the things like the horror aspects of it, as directed by Sam Raimi, and some of these things, there is plenty of movie in that movie that I did enjoy enough to give it the win.
Yeah. Our next one is Best Emotional Moment, aka the I'm Not Your Crying, You're Crying Award. And the nominees go to Adult Adam talking to his mom in The Adam Project, T'Challa's death / the Marvel intro for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, Dante's funeral in Clerks 3, Alicia's goodbye to Buzz in Lightyear, and Jane's death in Thor: Love and Thunder. I guess spoilers for that. And our award is the one that we both agreed, like without even taking a second, like this is the winner, and that is Adult Adam talking to his mom in The Adam Project. Brian, take this one away.
Yeah, this came out in what, like February or something?
Yeah,
early this year.
One of the first good movies of the year.
Yeah, and when I'm keeping track of things that I would nominate later in the year, this is the first thing I had down for this category, and for the longest time it was the only thing I had down for this category, and it stayed on top for the rest of the year. Because there's, as much as Adam Project has plenty of comedy to it, and it's got some good sci-fi action to it as well. There's that one scene in the bar where he's talking to his mom. Of course, she doesn't know it's him, and it's just one of those things where you can feel what he's feeling, what he knows that she doesn't know, and just kind of that emotion, that unspoken thing, just in the looks on their faces. It's like like last year, where Andrew Garfield won, mostly because of just the look on his face in that scene. It's kind of the same thing here. It was just the way they conveyed that emotion. This is the moment that really got to you.
Yeah, and the performances for Jennifer Garner and Ryan Reynolds in that moment are amazing. And that's the greatest thing about this scene too, is like, it'd be one thing if this scene was at the end of the film after we had spent this time with these characters and kind of had the story so far. This is one of the very, very first moments. Not the first moments in the film, but it's one of the very first moments for Ryan Reynolds' character in the movie. And so already within like 10, 15 minutes of film have already built up enough with these characters that this scene can happen and it hits just the right way it should. Also speaks to the writing, the directing of Sean Levy? Or Sean Levy. Yeah.
Sean Levy.
And their performances. This scene is hands down the most emotional moment of the year. And once again, it's a Netflix film. So if you guys have not checked out The Adam Project, you should check out The Adam Project. It's one of the better sci-fi films of the year. It didn't win the award, but it definitely was one of the best of the year. Next goes to Best Surprise / Twist, aka the Jaw Dropper Award. And the nominees are Killmonger showing up in Black Panther Wakanda Forever, Andy is a twin in Glass Onion and Knives Out Mystery, Nicole Kidman's turn in The Northman, Sam being Billy Loomis's kid in Scream, and Present being Scrooge in Spirited. I had to say that wordly because I was like,
oh, by the way, retroactive spoiler alert, people.
Well, I already said it earlier, so obviously we're still connected. I'll put up a spoiler tag at the start of the film.
It doesn't matter.
Video. Yeah, these movies have been out for over 6 months.
Yeah.
And the winner for Best Surprise Twist is Andy is a twin. Yes, the other moments maybe were bigger in terms of stuff, but this literally drives the film. Without this twist, the movie doesn't work. And I go, well, that's the way the script is. Well, yes, but knowing that happened, because before we know it, we just see her get shot. And we're just like, oh shit, they killed off that character really quickly. And then all of a sudden it's like the whole movie whoosh restarts. And without this twist, the movie does not work as well. Whereas Killmonger is a great surprise, but it doesn't dictate the film. Nicole Kidman's turn was actually really, really good, but it happened late in the film. Billy Loomis, I personally wasn't a fan.
That should have driven the film, but we'll get into that again.
Yeah, it should have driven the film with our ending. And then Present being Scrooge, I thought was fantastic. But Andy as the twin was the right pick here. Brian, this was your main driver here, so you go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those things where the twist is not just a shocking moment. It's not like an M. Night Shyamalan at the end, like, ooh, it's a twist. This is a twist that, first of all, it happens halfway through the movie. And not only, does it take the movie in a whole different direction, but it's the kind of twist that now when you go back and rewatch the movie, you watch the first half totally differently because you know now who that character is and how things are going to play out. And you see things and pick up on just little things that you've never noticed before because of this twist. And that's the best kind.
And what's great about it too is yes, you could do it that way, but because the movie actually technically does reset and you start watching these scenes differently, it almost makes you not have to do that, which is something that a lot of movies don't do. You basically get the twist at the end, then you have to go back and watch the whole movie again to see if you try to pick up the little things here and there. Mm-hmm. Whereas Glass Onion goes, no, we're actually going to just do that right now. And then you can go back and rewatch it again and go, okay.
There are still other issues, yeah, that you pick
exactly.
up.
There's still little things here and there, but it kind of helps you lead the way through. Next award goes to Best Cameo, aka Yes, We All Saw It award. And the nominees go to Channing Tatum as the bus passenger in Bullet Train, John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, Hugh Grant being Benoit Blanc's boyfriend, who I thought he was his butler, in Glass Onion and Knives Out Mystery, Brad Pitt as Jack Trainer in The Lost City, and Billy Loomis reappearing in Scream. And the winner goes to Channing Tatum as the bus passenger in Bullet Train. I love that we had Channing Tatum's movie in Lost City early in the year and Brad Pitt cameos in it. And then literally he then cameos in Brad Pitt's movie. Then I don't know if that was planned or if that was meant to happen, but happening in the same year was a touch of brilliance. But Tatum's was funny. It was short, it was sweet, and it was great.
Is this a sex thing?
Is it a sex thing?
Yeah, it's one of those things. I mean, obviously, Bullet Train. Obviously, I had an additional cameo by Ryan Reynolds, but there's kind of nothing to that one. With Channing Tatum's, it was a moment that, first of all, they managed to keep completely quiet. I don't like when cameo, like the trailers gave away Brad Pitt in Lost City, although it's still a cameo, even if it's not a surprise cameo. Things like John Krasinski, were not revealed, but it was kind of heavily rumored and kind of people were kind of half expecting it. Maybe even they weren't expecting it. They're like, if this happened, it wouldn't shock me, With Channing Tatum, though, it's completely unknown. He just pops up in this movie and gets to have his funny little moment. Actually, a couple different funny moments at the movie, and it's just added even more to an already funny action movie.
If I'm not mistaken, this might be our 2-time winner. Because didn't he also win last year for Free Guy? Wasn't he our winner last year for Free Guy?
Possible.
I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. So this might be our first ever 2-time winner. Channing Tatum. Can he three-peat it this year?
We don't know. Cameo next year, yeah.
Yeah, what's he going to do next year? Because he ain't going to win for Magic Mike. Next, we're going to go to, well, he's the star. He's not camoing it. Camo.
He could be in camo.
Cameo. For some reason, the word just and escaped my brain.
Word out.
What's that?
Nothing. Some joke. Move on.
Next, we're going to go to Best Villain. Nominees are Miles Quaritch in Avatar: The Way of Water, which I did not know his first name was Miles until I read the cast. Wanda Maximoff in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Lloyd in The Gray Man. Art the Clown in Terrifier 2. And Gore the God Butcher in Thor: Love and Thunder. And the winner goes to Wanda Maximoff in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Powerful performance by Elizabeth Olsen in this. For anyone who watched WandaVision and just watched the way her character grew in that film and then flipped in this film, Sam Raimi made her almost like a Freddy Krueger-like villain in this. I thought she put on a fantastic performance. One of my favorite performances of the year. She rightfully deserved Best Villain in this role. And you could argue whether or not she's the villain, but dude, she's murking people in this movie. She deserves to be the villain overall. Your thoughts on Wanda?
Yeah, I mean, if there's a villain in the movie, if there's an antagonist in the movie, it is definitely Wanda Maximoff. And this is one of those where, I mean, yes, somebody like for instance, Art in Terrifier 2, obviously he's villain in that movie for sure. But what makes, I think, a villain even better, as much as you enjoy him in that kind of movie, is somebody like Wanda, who she may be the villain in the movie, but she's a three-dimensional character. Not only is she doing the things she's doing, but you know why she's doing the things you're doing, and you're almost kind of sympathetic to some of the things she's doing. So you actually understand her motivations to it, and that's what makes it an even better character, because it's not just like this mustache twirling, two-dimensional person.
Which is what Lloyd is, which he does brilliantly.
He plays that. It's basically a caricature, and he plays it perfectly for that kind of movie. But for a movie like this, that we wanted to have more depth to it, especially when you're building off an entire series.
Absolutely. Next is our Best Breakthrough, aka the I Got Next Award. And this one was really between two people, but we have 5 great nominees. Our nominees are Walker Scobell from The Adam Project, Austin Butler in Elvis, Amber Midthunder in Prey, Jenny Ortega in Scream, Fallout, X, Wednesday, name 3 other things. She was in it this year. And Glenn Powell in Top Gun Maverick. Ultimately, though, our winner goes to probably going to be a Best Actor nominee by the end of the year, Austin Butler and Elvis. Brian, take this one away.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of people in this category that could have been nominated, and I actually wouldn't have minded almost any of them winning, because they all have definitely had these great breakthrough years. Some of them have been working for a while, like Glenn Powell's been working for several years in supporting roles, and he's definitely broke through because this is his biggest role, things like that. And there's other people like Walker Scobell, who this is essentially his first big role, and he's clearly going to have a big future to it.
Same thing with Amber Midthunder.
But Austin Butler, in terms of the true spirit of the breakthrough award, he'd been in movies. You'd seen him in small roles and things like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood or things like that. But this is the movie which, like, he is the star of the movie. People who didn't know his name before, they know his name now, and he's clearly going to have a big future ahead of him.
Yeah, there's so many big movies now that are coming out here in 2023, 2024 that have Butler in it now. And if it had not been for Elvis, probably wouldn't have been casted in those films. And Jenna Ortega obviously was well, but she was in so much this year that, like, we knew who she was before this movie came out, much like Glenn Powell, but she was in so much. But Austin Butler's going to get nominated for this role.
So if we go back to quantity, who broke through, Jenna Ortega's got it down.
Yeah,
she's got
5
things this year and another 6 things next year.
Now, if we don't give this award up. If we were going to give like an award for like female MVP and male MVP, Jenna Ortega definitely wins female MVP, and probably Colin Farrell would win like male for just like doing the most like good work throughout the year. But yeah, Austin Butler, his performance as Elvis is amazing.
It's a star-making performance, as they say.
And without that performance in it, that movie's not as good.
Oh, the movie has plenty of problems. He is not one of them.
Yes, hence why it was on Best Overrated, because everyone's talking about that movie so much. It's like, no, it's great because Austin Butler, not because of everything else, aka Tom Hanks. Next, this is our fun award. Every year, we kind of make a award that is specifically just for this year alone. Which last year was the emotional one. with Andrew Garfield because we really just wanted that scene to get recognized. But then it became a regular award. This one, I don't know if it's going to be back next year unless there's a lot of good films that warrant this. But this is the Ultimate Bro/Bromance Award. And the nominees are Chip and Dale and Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, Lemon and Tangerine and Bullet Train, Ram and Beheem and RRR, Clint and Present and Spirited, and Nick Cage and Javi in The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. And of course, the winners have to be Bam and Beheem and RRR. This award was literally made for these guys. But those other nominees, we were like, well, yeah, they were great too. Let's put them in there. But this was an RRR award. Bam and Beheem, they literally, in a span of a song, made you go, these guys are the best friends. They're so great together. I mean, the dudes literally, first interaction together, one's on a freaking bridge, one's down there, and he can go. And they're like, I got it. Like, bros. Like, if you don't, like, they knew that shit.
I think like, bros.
Bros, yes. Their bromance throughout this whole film is literally the crux of RRR. If this doesn't work, the movie does not work. And that's why when we have that fight scene, which won Best Fight, it's even more heartbreaking. And then eventually what happens later on in the film, it's amazing. Their bromance is amazing and knows no bounds. I wouldn't say it's unbreakable because obviously in the film it breaks, but it gets reassembled and all that kind of stuff in the film. But yeah, this was a movie that, like you said, you sold me hard on this before I watched it, but it was because of this bromance between these two fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, this award, if we award it in the future, will probably be renamed for the RR Award. Because it's still the bromance is at the center of that film. And like, I mean, you could have these two characters kind of on these opposing ends and you could still have a movie. But the fact that they become such good friends, they have this bromance and they don't know that each other is actually on the other side. That's what makes this movie what it is.
Yes. And I want this movie to win. Yes. I want this movie to win stuff in the Oscars, but they're saying that if Naatu Naatu gets nominated, they're going to perform that on stage. And if Bam and Ram are on stage for Naatu Naatu and they're doing the dance, oh my God!
I think if they do, they will not perform the whole thing. From what I heard, it was very hard to even get it in segments, much less to do the whole dance at once. But I will say,
music video in the movie.
I will say that we do not have a best musical award for this year because whereas in like last year, this year there was essentially no musicals. A couple of them popped out, but nothing worthwhile nominating. If we had to nominate a musical moment from the year, though, it'd be RRR.
Yeah, Naatu Naatu is definitely the musical moment of the year. Next, we're going to our final award. This is the Best Ensemble, aka Best Cast, Best Performing Cast. Everyone was top notch all the way through. And our nominees are Glass Onion, A Knives Out Mystery, Bullet Train, The Woman King, Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Top Gun Maverick. And the winner for Best Ensemble goes to The Woman King. I've been championing this movie since I saw it back in October. I think it was September. This film, it was my number one film of the year. To me, at least for me, Brian doesn't agree, but for me, award-winning performances for at least 4 of the leads in this film. Viola Davis is great. Thusu Mubisu?
I want to hear you pronounce all these names. Go for it.
I'm not gonna go with the rest because I'm gonna butcher everyone else. But like I love this cast. John Boyega, who I thought was just gonna have like a one-off, like he's the king, he's just there. He has some great moments. Everyone in this film, from the smallest character to the leads, are stand out. They all have great moments. They all have great written characters. They all have great character development throughout the film. You care about the well-beings of these characters. You want to see them grow. You get sad when they die, all this kind of stuff. Not to say that the rest of the ensemble cast didn't have that as well. That's why they were nominated. But for me, The Woman King is hands down for me the best ensemble film of the year. Brian, you just watched this recently, didn't you?
Yeah, well, I'd seen it when it first came out, and then I just rewatched it again recently. This is an award that I had a really tough time with. I was not in complete agreement with the winner being Woman King. I think a lobbying for like Glass Onion. I think maybe Bullet Train.
You wanted Glass Onion.
But really, it comes down to the fact that I have no problem with them winning, with Woman King winning though as well, because while I maybe do not feel that some of these people are the best performances of the year individually, I think that the movie that has the most great performances all in one cast with not a weak link in the bunch is Woman King.
And that is our award show. Now, in terms of the what is it, the statisticians and stuff like that, total nominations and wins. Most nominations go to Glass Onion. Knives Out Mystery with 7 nominations, followed by Bullet Train and Scream with 5. And everyone, there was a 3-way tie, I believe, for most wins with 2. Or no, sorry, a 4-way tie between Knives Out or Glass Onion, Doctor Strange, Terrifier 2, and RRR all got 2 wins. So in terms of percentages, obviously RRR, Doctor Strange, Terrifier were at 50%, where Glass Onion, obviously had 7 nominations and only 2 wins. But yes, those are our top nominees of the year. And that is our 2nd year of our annual Movie Crusaders Awards. We hope you guys enjoyed this. We love doing these. We love going out through the year and discussing all this stuff and keeping track of all the movies as we watch them throughout the year. Me more so than Brian, because Brian tends to forget. But it's fun negotiation. And if there was something that you guys really did care about, we would film that. But we think you guys would get bored of us basically arguing and debating on who's going to win, because we spoil the film at that point. Or we do it like that, where we just do the discussion and then we say who wins. But that's just a shitload of editing, which I just don't have time for. But we hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe button to the channel so you guys stay up to date with all the latest videos pop up on the Movie Crusaders. And of course, follow us on those social media outlets you see below. Coming up next, our very first episode of the Weekly Crusaders, where we are going to be talking about 2 movies that came out during this week in movie history, aka basically the 1980s and above, because we don't really like going too far back. Brian will have his pick, I'll have my pick, and we will deep dive into those films. And then Brian, take it away on this new show that we are also going to be doing.
So in what was formerly the Weekend Crusaders, we always talked about what we called our stinker movies, which are movies that, to say the least, were not great. We decided, we're going to break those off into their own show, so give us some more time to really, dig deep into these and have some fun talking about them. And we are going to be doing that under the new name of Cinemasochism, because we hate ourselves, and we're going into this knowing they're going to be bad, but we're watching them anyway, just for you.
Yes. So both of those videos will be out here in the next week. So check out that as well. And those will both be weekly shows that we'll be coming out with every week. Until next time, we are the Movie Crusaders. My name is Sean Wascrew. That is Brian Michaels. And until next time, in case we don't see you, good morning, good afternoon, and good night, Movie Crusaders.
You're still here. It's over. Go home.